I would say the best way of doing color grading is like stick to what's there in the image. Just try and accentuate it. Don't try and change it completely. Now I would say the colorist is very close associate of camera.
He was one of the youngest colorists when he started. And in short span of 8 years, he has collaborated with top directors, DOPs and also music artists. He has won 2 VAM Awards in 2023 for Best DI for TVC and OTT. And he is also one of the only Indians to be nominated for the Dehancer Colorist Award 2024. Please welcome Senior Colorist of Famous Studios, Avinash Shukla. Before we get into the episodic content, we would like to invite you to join our community of the backstage artists. These backstage artists are the true inspiration behind our podcast.
They have pushed us to dig deeper, laugh louder and create endless magic.
Please like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel Pixels Unlimited to be part of this exciting journey.
And follow, leave us a comment or even compliment on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. Links are in description below.
Rolling.
शुरू से शुरू करते हैं.
Hi, I am Avinash Shukla. I am a senior DI colorist in Famous Studio. I've been working here for 4 years now.
Welcome to our multilingual audiovisual podcast, The Backstage Artist. So my first question is like, how did you even come into films? Like, did you study films or how did you enter?
So while I was doing my BSc IT, I was around 16, 17. Pocket money wasn't a great concept at my house, so I wanted to just do something, and I got very fond of cameras. So there, at that time DSL cameras were getting popular. So what started happening is the best way of earning quick money was weddings. And YouTube also was picking up. So I started looking more YouTube videos to understand how camera works, how photography works, and also while doing that I was also getting into paintings.
Oh wow.
So now a lot of people actually they miss out while they are getting into, I would say, image processing business or the business which is related to creating videos. Paintings are a huge inspiration. And when I started experimenting and seeing myself, so in weddings you can do a lot of stuff. So I started doing wedding videos.
So you used to shoot wedding videos or be in the post?
I used to, so we used to take a bulk deal. It's going to be wedding videos, pre-wedding, post-wedding. There's also a thing called post-wedding and photography, of course. So yeah, I started doing that and I started earning like 25-30 grand on the side while I was in college.
Not bad.
That's a good money for a 16-year-old.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So following to that, a lot of people started coming to me. They wanted to shoot individual music videos for their YouTube. So I started doing that, and then eventually I got editing work. So more than camera work, I was getting editing work because I had this different style of editing when I was working, and Adobe Premiere at that particular time was getting very famous.
So you basically shot and edited, and you also, of course, I mean, color. So how did you get into color grading?
So while I was doing Premiere Pro, there is this thing called in Premiere Pro called volumetric colors. It gives you a very basic sense of color grading, but I started enjoying it because before getting into post, what is the one thing from your childhood you remember is the paint. You know, you often enjoy what I think in school everyone enjoyed doing the paintings. I'm talking about the paint, Microsoft Paint.
Oh,
On
not
desktop,
the
not the paint, the Microsoft painting. It's that is something I used to enjoy a lot, and from there I think I had this little bit thing where I explored Adobe Photoshop when it newly came. So I started enjoying it. I wouldn't say I was very good at color grading back then, but I used to do something. I used to enjoy all those curves and volumetric colors and LUTs which were getting popular at that time. So I might not be doing the right thing, but I was enjoying color grading while I was editing. Yeah.
Isn't that more important? Because if you like something, then you tend to understand how that works and then go ahead.
See, subconsciously it gets into you. I mean, you might not even know that my journey of color grading, I don't even know when it started. You know, as I told you, while I was editing, I was also exploring the color grading part. Somewhere or the other, maybe even 2%, it still helps me to understand how the color works. When I got an opportunity to work for a post-production studios, I was very interested always towards, because a lot of people knows about editing and VFX part of the industry.
Exactly, yes.
But not about color grading, and I
Yeah.
didn't even know there is a job existing which only specialize into color grading.
Yeah, we don't have even like you cannot study color grading per se in any kind of institutes or any big film institutes or even like
Yeah.
diploma schools, I guess.
Yeah, I mean now it's I think after 2020, 21st, it started getting popular where they have the diploma in color grading and all that. I think color grading is a process where it gets it's like whiskey. The more the more time you spend, the more time it gets better and better.
Yeah.
A college diplomat might not even be
Yeah.
ready
Yeah.
when he comes into the industry, because it works completely differently.
Yeah.
And yeah, now it started getting popular, but back when I started, it wasn't that popular. I told you, I mean, no one even know if there is a job existing.
So
color
true.
grading.
But even a lot of people now also, we actually, the whole point of this podcast is that there are a lot of departments which people don't know in general life, like Foley artist or even colorist in that sense.
Yeah.
Because that was the idea, so that people should know there are other departments, so that they can also like there has to be some sort of aspiration to be that.
Yeah.
But even for that, you should know that this exists.
Yeah.
So that also becomes a big thing.
See, what happens is like, it's just like people right now is too influenced by YouTube, I believe. You will get to understand all this when you started going more professional. It's about the people you are following. The more people, I mean, if I need to learn photography, I'll follow people like Steve McCurry and all these people who are professionally been doing this for a while. Now when you do this and one is interested to know how his process are, you get a lot of articles and you get a lot of people covering for Steve McCurry, how he processed the image,
Yeah,
what's his
yeah.
science behind it. So if one is interested, I would rather tell them to go and visit those websites and read, except going on YouTube and learning.
Even that, like sometimes the practical knowledge also helps. Like when you start doing it, you
Yeah.
will understand like there are various smaller things which get into your way when
No, 100%. I mean, as I told you, while I was doing weddings, the knowledge of the camera, the styles which were used back then, the knowledge of lens. Now what happens to me is like when I work with the DOPs and when I spend time with them, whenever we are doing a feature film, we spend with one DOP, we might even spend like 2 months and up to 200 hours
easily.
to complete a feature
yeah.
film, right? But when we are speaking now, what happens is like a DOP, whenever he's choosing to create a certain image, people might not even know it's a combination of lot of stuff. It's a
Yeah.
combination of what company lights to be used. You know, 2 different lights, even if they are a normal bulb, they can react different way on the
Exactly.
cameras, lenses, filters, you know, camera bodies, you know,
Yeah.
how he's placing it. So all this comes into a matter when you are creating an image. What happens is like, you know, I mean, just because I had the experience of shooting on DSLR,
Yeah.
I understand 90% of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I get to learn, like, you know, I know whenever a DOP is talking to me certainly about lens or camera body or whatever, I'm aware about what exactly he is saying.
Yeah.
So yes, as you said, like, you know, I mean, more practical knowledge is useful
Of
than
course.
your school knowledge.
So what was your first project as an independent colorist, or at least in films? It can be an editor, it can be colorist or whichever.
So I started interning with this one studio for a year. Actually, I didn't got paid for a year.
Wow.
Because back then they used
And after this, like you had like 30 grand a month, and then you went down to intern.
So yeah. So I had, so as I told you, like there was this one NGO video which I edited for, got quite popular back then. They offered me a job which was 25 grand. And it's not exclusive, so I can do freelance on the side as well.
Okay.
And there was this opportunity, and there was this opportunity working in a professional studio but not getting paid for a year. And yes, you get to learn whatever you want. I think back then it was the way of checking on people how serious
Yeah,
they
how
are.
serious
about,
they are, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because I've seen people who have joined saying yes, but maybe 10-15 people I've seen they leaving immediately after a month or two, right? And so I was working there as an intern, where I explored all the section of post studio, right? Start from the machine room.
Wow.
Machine room is a place where you just connect the drives and do the cabling and hand over to the client. So I started from there, and then as I had an experience of working on Premiere Pro, my manager at that time, he said, you don't need to do editing, rather you do a VFX job. So in post-production studios, there is this software called Flame, which we often use to do compositing and cleanups and all that. So that's where he put me, and within 6 months, I started assisting seniors over there.
Oh wow.
And after 6 months, there was this Hansal Mehta film called Simran. So as an assistant editor, I was working on that project, where there was like 8 to 10 people working on the similar project. So project wise, you can say Simran was my first film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when did you when you started as an independent editor or again colorist, so how was that experience? Because when you are an assistant or associate or somebody, then somehow you have that back of the mind, because I used to edit at certain point.
Right.
I assisted one of my editors, said that you know, you have that leeway, so do your thing.
Sure.
But when you start independently doing it, and then you get like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I'm the last person, this like ball ends here.
Yeah. So I mean, as you said, like, you know, I mean, while you are doing VFX, it's not just one people, it's a group of people who are doing that project. But what happens while you're doing color grading is just one guy
Exactly.
who's dealing with the whole
That's
client,
what, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So while I was doing Simran, there was this Italian colorist who was in India at that particular time, great artist. His name is ᴄᴏᴏᴏᴏɪsᴛ. One day his assistant chose not to come, and he said, I'll be doing something else rather than doing this. And that guy is super busy at that time. He was doing superbly well. He's in Shanghai right now from 5 years.
Oh wow.
But I got an opportunity to assist him. So what happens is, again, my manager at that time, he said, like, you know, there is this vacancy if you want to do color grading, but you will have to assist Nicola for a while, and you got to learn how it's working. Now, as I told you, I was very interested in color grading since beginning, and without thinking, I actually shuffled from VFX to color grading. And this guy was very calm and very supportive, because somewhere or the other he also started, you know, from beginning. He also started. He used to do Photoshop retouching for people, and that's why he also explored color grading on his own in Taiwan. And the next was he came to India, and he spent over. So at the time where I joined him, he already spent like 2.5 years here, and he was doing superbly well. I believe, like, you know, people who always try and explore new things. Every day he used to come, and he used to be seeing something, some PDF, he used to be reading something or the other. From there, I got a habit of exploring new stuff every day. So me and Nicola, we used to sit, and although I was an assistant, he used to be like, what do you think of this grade? Tell me about this grade. You know, so he used to be open about the opinions of mine as well. And there was that collaboration worked really well for 6-7 months. And there was this time he's like, now you're wasting your time. I think he started pushing me, and he's like, you should start doing on your own.
Oh wow.
So he was very, very supportive when it comes to doing projects. And even when I started doing my first feature film, apparently it's not out yet, because it was Priyanka Chopra's production. It's a film on environment, a Marathi film, but it went for festival for 4-5 years. Won also national award. So that was my first feature film as an individual color grading artist. But still he used to come and check on how I'm doing. He used to give his suggestions and all that. I still have a very sweet relation with him. We actually spoke yesterday. But yeah, that's how I got into color grading.
So even now also, do you ask him any suggestions, or if you are stuck or something?
I mean, I don't necessarily go for every project, but then
not every project, but there is one project.
100%. I mean, his opinion really matters still, you know, because he still wants to see me growing.
That
and
is such a good
he
thing.
mentors me, like, you know, still he mentors me. He's like, how you're doing, what you're doing, and you should be exploring more jobs. Don't get stuck like at one place. He actually pushes me. So he has a very backpack kind of vibe, like he loves to travel world. So his thing is like you pack up from one country in 3-4 years, shift other, start from start from the beginning. That's what he enjoys.
But that is good.
That's good for but then I told him it's a little tough for me, I can't do it. But he keeps pushing me for that. So whenever I post something, so he makes sure that he has his pointers. At the similar time, if he really enjoys it, then he calls me and he says, I love this, whatever you have done. So yeah, we have, and it's likewise. I mean, he also sends and he said like, this is what I've done, what do you think about it?
You should always have like really good mentor so that you can at least have some bouncing board.
100%. No, and also that repo is really clean and nice, because now we are an individual artist, and he told me like you have explored your own style, but that mentorship is always there from him. It's always there. He was a guy actually who pushed me. I used to stay like 30-40 kilometers away from here.
So are you originally from Bombay?
I am from Bombay, yeah. So I stay in this place called Vղᴜᴛ, which is like 30 kilometers from here. So I used to take 2 hours to come to office every day. So the day I started my salary, the very first thing he suggested that you should be shifting to Bandra. And I told him like Bandra is really expensive. And he said this is not the time for you to save money, but invest in yourself. So that term actually stuck to me, which is like investing yourself, because he literally took out the calculator and calculated hours for me, how much time you waste while you travel. And you won't believe that 4 hours, 5 hours of traveling sums up to almost a month in a year. So you just waste your month in the traveling.
Of course, I know. I have traveled like that, I know. So
yeah, it's a part of living in Bombay.
So is there like in your 6 to 8 years of working as a colorist, so is there any one film or project, I guess, which you are very close to and you poured your heart and soul in that one project?
A lot of people actually know me from this project called Scam 1992, which was Hansal Mehta's and Jai Mehta's web series. So what happened is this was very middle of COVID, where the COVID was at peak. It was July 2020. So what happens is me and Jai, while we were doing Simran, so we know each other back then. And then later on when I become colorist, he started doing music videos and all this stuff with me. So Jai Mehta made me meet this guy called Pratham, who was just out of film school, and he was in India. He shot his first music video with Jai. Now a lot of people don't know about this, but then they actually were soft discussing this show back in 2019.
Oh wow.
When Pratham and I sat and discussed what camera to use, if we should use a filter on set or not. All this discussion happened. But eventually Sony wanted to put a post studio of their own. So they decided that we'll hire some freelance colorist and we'll grade this web series in-house. Now, as I was working with the same organization when I was working.
Which organization were you working?
I was working with After Studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So while I was working with After Studio, I cannot freelance. Of course, like, I said no, I cannot come and I cannot do the freelance. They approached a different freelance artist and he got locked. Now here is where the destiny comes, right? So COVID happened. I left my job at After. I chose to do freelance at that time, and I made this one brochure where I put all my latest work, and I sent out to all my clients, and one of the client was Jai Mehta, and he got it. And he said, are you freelancing now? And I said yes. So he said, my colorist is stuck in Italy, he might not be able to do this web series, and we are stuck and it has to go out on October. Do you want to get over and come and finish this off? I said, of course. I mean, if he has not started it. And that's how they signed me overnight, and then from next day I was working in middle of COVID.
Oh, what?
So
that is really such a destiny coming
exactly.
together.
Like,
and
we spoke about what lenses to use, and like, and it was out of blue moon. I just choose to, one night I was like, let me create a brochure. There was this one senior artist who was just doing remotely work at that time, and no other people were doing remote work at that time. And I sent him this brochure, and he called me, and that's how we signed up. And very next day, when I stepped out, it was a different kind of Bombay what we have been seeing. It was just one car. I'm driving 40 minutes. No one is there. It was taking me like for 40 kilometers. I was taking 40 minutes. That's a very new thing for Bombay. But that's how Scam 1992 happened until the time of October 10th when it got released.
Yeah.
I would say Scam 1992 really put me on the map. Because a lot of people still praise me.
Yeah, that project. I mean, the project itself is good, and
Exactly.
it looks really good also.
Exactly. I mean, I will give this credit to both the directors, because both the directors, Hansal and Jai, they let each and individual artist to do whatever they want.
Exactly.
You know, so there are certain projects where your voice is also important.
Yeah.
You know, where filmmaker will not come with a pre-notion mind. He'll be open for suggestions.
Yeah.
So that was the project where actually I did what I wanted to do. So it was
Basically, it's a filmmaking itself is such a collaborative
Exactly.
thing, and when everything, like, it's a domino thing, no? Matlab, one thing is there and then everything falls back, or just everything comes together very well. So that is, I think, one of the
and also, I mean, I look at it as a Bruce Lee saying, right? You're doing 100 moves, 1,000 hours, and you're doing one move 1,000 hours. So if you're going to a professional artist, like if you're coming to me as a color grading artist, I am doing this every day for 1,000 hours.
Exactly.
You know, so I mean, somewhere or the other, I will definitely add up things rather than like,
that experience also counts, like the smallest of experiences when from the camera perspective, and then like every experience counts till 20 years or 10 years you have been there,
definitely.
doing 10 different things, but somehow it
Definitely.
just
And
collates
also, I mean, like, you know, I mean, you train your eyes every day. Like, you know, I mean, now my social media, my Instagram is just followed to artists and DOPs and directors. So now every time when I open up my social media, I'm seeing something new, which is relative for me and my work. So it's every day I am training my eyes.
When did you get involved? Like from the pre-production, or the director comes in saying ki bro, shoot ho gaya? So how do you go about it?
I think before 2023, that was the way everyone was getting involved. As it's called post, people come after everything has been done. But now what I've started doing is I've started supervising the projects. Now what happens is I get myself involved from the beginning. So during this project, Main Atal Hoon, when me and Lawrence Dcunha, who is the DOP, he was here to actually do a grade for a commercial, and he mentioned that this is a project I'm going to do. And I told him, like, you know, I would like to get involved since the beginning. And he was very happy, because for him, it's like I'll be coming on set and I'll be taking care of all the process of color related, right? So I made sure while he was creating his lookbook for the directors and for the producers, I got involved and I gave him certain suggestions of the film. This is the references you should go for. And plus on the first and second day I went there and we created. So this it's a film on Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. It's and he has such a colorful life. And film is divided in 10, like 6 to 5 decades.
Wow,
So now while I was on set, I created 6 LUTs for him, which he can actually import into a camera. While he's shooting, he'll see through that LUT. So now whatever everyone on set was viewing it, they were viewing with 80% of the grade.
Wow. So even when it comes down, so you are like,
I just have to do 20% of it.
Exactly.
So now what is the plus point for them is like all the VFX artists, all the directors team, cameras team, they're already seeing a 80% finished film. So that is the process I explored. The next picture which I did was this director called Shenpen, Tibetan Indian filmmaker, first from Darjeeling. He's born and raised in Darjeeling, but he's the biggest activist for Tibetans. And he shot this film, which just the teaser has come out on Dalai Lama, and we shot this in Nepal. On 13,000 feet altitude, and he flew me there. He was like, I'll take all the expenses and all that. He took a special permission from our MD, as he's also his friend. Then he flew me there, and there was this American DOP, Brandon, we three collaborated and we again created a LUT for the film. And again, the film has come out very beautifully. It's a very intense and very important film for Tibetans.
Yeah.
These are the two projects where I started getting involved myself in pre.
Yeah, but this is very fascinating on various terms. Like your half
Yeah.
of the job is done, and the whole crew knows like how it is looking. So everybody works on that space. That
Exactly. So this is, I think this year also I'm gonna invest into this, because this really helps, and it's also brings up the quality of the film.
Yeah, exactly. And your job is also like half done, if I may say so.
Yeah.
Because
it's half done for everyone, for the VFX artists. For
no, but even because it is your job as a like manual job.
I would say 80%. I mean,
so,
it's more.
Yeah. I don't want you to say it myself, because I don't understand your job, so I cannot say that. But yeah, fair enough. Can you give me some trivia of your, like, since you started, so that people know you more?
I mean, I wouldn't call it trivia though. I would say, I think last year we did more than 20 to 22 long formats.
In 1 year?
In 1 year. Plus also commercials on the side.
Wow.
So this last year was really fruitful for us.
Wow.
But I would just give it credit to my team and myself, because that sums up to somewhere around 2,500 hours of work.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a trivia for someone, but then it's actually, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Not all the projects are out though, but then there was this time in April where I had 8 releases. So 8 feature films were getting released, where we also created a PDF and we posted. But yeah, I think it was month of March and April where we had 8 releases.
That is really cool. So has it ever happened that your family, when they go to the films, when they watch your film, that can be anything, and were you like, are you able to explain them ki what do you do?
So my father was a cameraman back in 90s.
Oh.
Yeah. So
then it's the wrong question.
No, it's not a wrong question. I would say there is a reason, because back when he was there, he also started from being a cameraman, like you know, the guy who used to just carry the camera from a professional career, not very mainstream industry, but he was doing well for himself, and he did work with quite a popular directors at that time. I mean, he understand my work. He actually sometime he also suggests me in terms of lighting and all this, because he was a cameraman himself. So I take sometime a lighting suggestions from him. But yeah, they understand. They do understand what exactly. But I mean, I always enjoy this question where people say, you do color grade, what exactly do you?
So I was actually gonna ask, but because that was the whole point. Because we interviewed other colorist, he was like, yeah, my neighbor actually felt that I used to color hair. So I was like, what?
So when you look up for jobs on LinkedIn, it gives you a hairstylist.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It doesn't gives you a color grading this thing. It will show you all the jobs for hairstylists, because we do color grading, right? So what happens is, like, you know, if let's say a random person comes to me and he's like, what are you doing exactly? So I tell them color grading. Then you have to give them a subcategory. You know, color grading, you know, editing, and he'll be like, yeah, I know editing. Yeah. Then we have to explain that, like, have you used social media? Do you use filter on that? He's like, yeah. And that's exactly what we do.
Filters.
We create filters for film.
Do you use filters on your Instagram or wherever?
I mean, if you go on my social media, it's just work.
No, even though for work also, like for work to khair jaise waise hi.
Yeah, it's my profession. I mean, I would rather create mine. I just go into the edit. I'll just make myself whatever.
Yeah, manual pe jaake apna.
100%. I mean, people pay me. I mean, I can do it for myself. I don't use filters. So.
Fair enough.
Because then I'll cringe myself. I'll like, this is too much warm. This is too much cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and moreover, your eyes are so trained to know what exactly how is the warm and how.
It's also a curse, you know. I mean, when I'm watching a film and I try to just watch the film. I mean, you won't believe the last Avenger movie. I forgot the name. I'm really Endgames. Yeah. When I was there, I was just looking for, there's a matte issue, there is this, because you can't just enjoy a film right now, because this is the final stage. So also what happens is, color grading is also, it's called a finishing artist, where the film is getting finished, and out of here it's just going to go in theaters. So we always have this tendency to look for errors, And whenever I'm watching a film, my friends don't prefer to watch a film.
Yeah, same
with
here,
me.
same here. Do you have any question?
For the normal audience
Yeah.
who want to come into like color grading.
Yeah.
So from your point of view, what is color grading?
So color grading is just, I think, see, the 80% of the work is done when your film has been shot, right? All we can do is actually accentuate the image, right? If there is a twilight scene, we can actually make it more beautiful. But then let's say if he has not shot for a twilight, we cannot make it twilight. So I think a lot of people, and I would also suggest for the people who are watching it on YouTube, I see a lot of the places where people try and do like, you know, to create Joker looks for the footage you have shot, or Batman look for the footage you have shot. It doesn't work like that. Like, you know, there is a whole team of production design, costume designers, DOPs, you know, art directors, directors, and the team to create that whole image. I mean, it's just not the color grading, you know. So there are a lot of this drawing videos also on YouTube. I would say the best way of doing color grading is like stick to what's there in the image. Just try and accentuate it. Don't try and change it completely. If it has been shot in a warmer temperature, let it be warm, you know, because if you try and move that, I think somewhere or the other you're killing the pixel quality.
And it also looks, मतलब एक point पे दिख जाता है.
100%.
Where it is like it was shot, like there are a lot of day to night shots.
Correct.
So
It's never going to look
yeah.
natural. I mean, as far as you guys want it to look natural, just stick to the way it has been shot. Yes, you can make it darker, brighter. Stick to how it has been shot. You know, color grading is more of like, you know, bringing up the colors and separation of what's already there. Don't try and create separation if there is no separation in the image.
And if I want to be a colorist, for example,
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
so what should I be doing, or what should I have something innate in myself or develop it to become a colorist?
First of all, get used to the cameras. It's a very important thing which you can use, because when you want your client sitting next to you and if he has certain question, you should know the answer, because you have to understand how also the image process, you know, so from the digital sensor or also from negatives, how it works, what are the process, how it's gonna work. So when you see the image on your monitor, you should understand how it has been shot. So first, camera experience. Second, I would say Photoshop really helps. The way of Photoshop works, I think somewhere or the other, those curves, those contrast, everything is similar in this. It's just you have more options and more depth here. But I think these two things, if you have, I think you have your base clear if you learn that. And then third, I would say always read a PDF manual.
Oh. Okay.
You know, I mean, instead of going on YouTube and learning it, I think PDF manual will always work. And then you can just practice what you're seeing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of the manual which have been given out by Netflix. Now, not many people know that Netflix also gives a user guide for also a professional, but also for a viewers. You know, how to watch it, where to watch it, and all that. So it's very layman language, I would say. But yeah, there are some technical stuff, but which they actually also intend also the professional people to see, just not the
fair enough.
And
So
last,
yeah.
like, as a backstage artist,
Ha.
how you enjoy your work and what is the reason also, why you enjoy it?
I mean, I enjoy because see, first of all, the best way of doing is all our actually cinematographers are when you start working with them, and like, you know, they are the one who are quite motivating, and they actually appreciate your investment into their project. Now I would say the colorist is very close associate of camera. So I think we most often report to cameraman more than the directors, you know. So the fun is where, you know, you have to, I mean, last January 2023 we did this music video which was directed by Rima Maya. Malay Prakash has shot it. It's a Divine's music video. That won an award. It's the one way he put it. But then more than that is like, you know, 10 to 15 cinematographer friends are going to call you, and they know you have done something nicer, and they will have. So this whole small community, they actually celebrate each other's little win. I mean, I think that's a good way, and by your medium, actually, people can explore if they want to come into this industry. It's just not acting and directing, which is quite famous with people.
So true.
And as you said, Foley artist.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of people there are also set designers. You know, all these things are, and it's very interesting in their own ways.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's just nothing in this industry is monotonous.
Yeah, I mean, just because every day is a new creative output, if I guess. So it is just very interesting. The Foley artist episode was like really interesting.
Yeah, it's more fun. You get to do.
Yeah, it was like, you know, when you're a kid, you play with things. So it was just that way, like kids playing around and making noises.
True.
But it was very fun. So I won't take more of your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was fun actually.
Yeah, it was such a
Thank you so much for supporting the backstage artists. In the upcoming episode, we have one of the biggest backbones of any filming set. These are the people responsible for keeping the crew well hydrated and well fed, with smiles on their faces, and they do not have word no or not possible in their dictionary. They are production boys and also lovingly known as Spot Dada.
हर एक चीज़ का सोल्यूशन इंडस्ट्री में होगा तो स्पॉट में ही है।
बेसिकली उसके लिए हमको ऑपरेट करते हैं कि सबको टाइम पे खाना पी ले, किसी को कुछ तकलीफ ना होवे, किसी को कुछ भी मार भी लग गया तो मेडिसिन के लिए हमको स्पॉट दादा मेडिसिन का आया लेके आओ, वो सब हम लोग देते हैं.
Please like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel Pixels Unlimited to be part of this exciting journey.
And follow, leave us a comment or even compliment on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. Links are in description below.